Well, hello, friends. Welcome to the From Busy to Rich podcast. This podcast exists to inspire advisors like you to increase your profitability and the quality of your life, but not just for you, for those that you serve and for those that you work with. Hope that you have been faithfully listening, because Wes has been spitting out some pretty serious knowledge lately. And this week, we're going to talk about the power of alignment. Our hope always is that you'll take these principles and just start to weave them into the day-to-day of you running your business. Wes, I want to ask as we start off, where'd you learn about this one, and what can people expect to take away if they're doing this well? What will shift? What will change?
Well, Andy, I love the word alignment, and one of the greatest definitions of meaningful financial planning that I've ever heard was from Carl Richards, and he said that meaningful financial planning is about the alignment of the use of capital with what you really care about. And capital has an asterisk. Capital is your time, your talent, your energy, your money. You could go on and on with it, but it's like, how do we align the things in our lives to best serve the direction we want to go? And when it comes to a marriage, a business, a friendship, it really is about the synergistic dance, the synergistic alignment of energy around where you're trying to go. And so I'm in Strategic Coach, which is Dan Sullivan's program. And in fact, we're going to have one of my coach from Strategic Coach. He'll be on in several weeks, but it is, in my opinion, so good, because what it does is you stop once a quarter to sit and you critically think through all the stuff you have going on. And really, it's an exercise of constant realignment of like, we've done well. We've done some things didn't go well. How do we take our time, talent, energy, relationships, physical self, and align it to the direction we would like to go, in light of the fact that we're all going to run out of time. We're going to run out of all the ideas and opportunities we could go pursue. And when it comes to what I want to dig into today, specific around this idea, is this idea that there are these 4 levels of entrepreneurial evolution that if you're not aware of them, it's really tough to align the best of all your energy around these levels to get you to the next one. But intuitively, most people want to get to the next one. They've just not defined it. But alignment is the key, and that is it. The regular stopping and saying, okay, where are we now? And then saying, what is the next level we'd like to get to? And how do we best align all the things in our life right now, the people that are working with us, the talents we have, the technology, education, training we have, and add in new things to get us to that next level of entrepreneurial evolution?
You know, I think that one of the things about alignment is that it's really obvious if you're not. It's subtle. The shift of alignment is subtle. And I think about this as in, I was driving my wife's car. We're a minivan family. I got in my wife's car, and I just rarely drive my wife's car. We got my car, she got her car, and, we're driving to church sometimes. Maybe I'll drive her car because it's usually cleaner. But I got in her car, and wouldn't you know, we're driving on the highway, and I let go of the steering wheel, and, what do you think happened to my car?
It veered off the road.
It did not keep going straight. Now, it didn't it's not like somebody jerked the wheel, but it was out of alignment. And my wife did not notice because it was so subtle. She just was like, I was like, if I would have said, honey, look at your steering wheel, it's like, oh, why is it cocked to the left? Because if you let go of it, it veers to the right, but you just slowly are out of alignment. And so it's an example of, you have to be intentional. I don't think alignment happens by default. I think misalignment happens by default. And it's because, just like cars, we hit bumps, right? Stuff happens. We have to keep staying in alignment. So walk us through sort of the maturation process of getting in alignment and staying in alignment. What does that look like?
Yeah. So here's the way I think about this. If you think about the levels of entrepreneurial evolution, I think there's these 4 that we're taught in Strategic Coach all the time, which is level 1 is the rugged individual. Level 2 is the who focused rather than how focused. Level 3 is replace yourself with leaders to have a self-managing company. And level 4 is everything happening around you operates as a self-multiplying unique ability team. And so we'll dig into each of these, but they're like checkpoints to know, am I staying in alignment with my current level, and am I giving myself the best opportunity to be in alignment to get to the next one? So these are the things I think about every quarter, Annie, as we've evolved. I didn't have this language early on. If I did, it would have got me there faster. I'm confident of that. And so I'm hoping as you listen today, you identify where are you finding yourself as you listen to this, and where's your next jump? And then let's think of through critically, how do we align the best of your time, talent, energy, team with that next jump, with what you really care about? Because the more synergistic you can get in that alignment, the more fun you're going to have, the more you're going to accomplish, and honestly, the more success you'll experience. So, let's dive into each one.
Okay. First up,
level 1 is rugged individual. They do everything themselves, or they micromanage those that they have. So when I first started in this business, Andy, I've never been a great micromanager, but I have had to do everything myself. And so you come in, you are the team, because there's no money and no other that are willing to work for free. So, but as quickly as I can, I knew that here's what you know right now. If you were an advisor and you find yourself in that role, and we have many listeners that you're fairly new to the game, or you're maybe 2 or 3 years in, and maybe you go in and out of assistants and administrative team. But here's what I would just tell you is, like, this, to be great in this business, you cannot do it without a wonderful team, because you're just not built to do everything well. And one, it's just a misuse of your alignment to say, I also need to be the one that's doing every single thing.
But isn't the tension that you have, generally in the beginning, unless you joined a team, people default to this because it's like, I don't know, I'll try to keep it simple. If you live by yourself and you have a lawn, you go and you don't have any extra money, you probably mow your own lawn, right?
Yeah.
Why? Because I don't have any money and I can't have my kids do it. I'm not going to pay someone, let's do it myself. But then people stay here for either because they are just a habit, or because they believe that they're the only one who can really do it that well, right? But yeah, most people start here and then get stuck here.
Yeah. So I love the lawn example, because literally, Annie, I hated yard work as a kid, just the way I'm wired. And my mom and dad would pay me. They say, "Hey, look, we're going to pay you. This is there's citizens of the house chores, and then there's work for pay chores. This is going to be one of your work for pay chores." Mm-hmm. And this is you gotta make sure the yard's mowed every couple of weeks. We lived in Odessa, so it was real hot, didn't rain a lot, so every couple of weeks was fine to keep the grass where it needed to be. And but I thought, what would be cool is, what if I could find somebody to do this for $10? And then I still get to keep 10. And I did. I found my brother-in-law who was happy to mow that yard for that amount. The only issue with that is eventually my parents found out about it, and they said, "We asked you to do it." I said, "No, you said you would just wanted it done."
Yeah.
And again, the 4 levels of delegation, which if you listen to one of our previous podcasts, this was one of those deals. And I said, "I got it done," and then they cut me out. So we'll throw that example aside for a second. But the thing is, with this, the rugged individual, and everybody feels this way when they start, especially if you don't join a team, which is honestly why ask this question: should you join a team? Because maybe you're not in the headspace. Because listen, the longer you do this by yourself and you don't have a team around you and you're unwilling to do it, maybe you would be better served joining a team that has infrastructure.
Well, Wes, this is another episode series or another podcast with a different title. but like, why is the industry built in the way it's built? They talk about you joining a team, and then they generally say, "All right, go sit next to someone, but do things completely separate from them." It's like, I'm on a team because I sit next to them. I don't feel like I'm on a team next to the guy I'm in the airplane with because he's sitting next to me. You know what I mean? My point is, that the industry sort of builds rugged individuals. It's just now some companies are, I will say, better at really leaning into teaming and saying, no, don't stop trying to do this alone. Stop it. Stop it.
And great managers of I've got one of my best friends is basically at the top of a managerial kind of insurance company. And one of the things that he is great at doing is helping people think, it is not a badge of honor for you to stay a rugged individual.
Yeah.
It is keeping you and all your talent, all your ability stifled. So that level one is just, do you find yourself there now, and understand that you need to evolve out of that as quickly as you possibly can.
Yeah, that's the goal. The goal of that stage is to get out of it. Get out as quickly as you can. Yeah. Like you're eating, you're sleeping indoors. So you figured it out enough, but also understand, we say this all the time, Andy, when you hire that first person, again, we got whole podcast episodes on this, but you don't have to pay all their salary right up front. Yeah. Don't tie it to eternity. It is and we got great systems. You give them a success matrix. You let them know what wild success looks like. You give them clarity. You use the 4 levels of delegation with them. Be a good, to get out of that. These are skills you got to build. And we've got podcast episode after podcast episode on how to do it. But it is a big deal. You don't want to stay the right individual. Level 2. This is where you get what we call who focused rather than how focused. So great book, Who Not How. This is one of those, it takes something that seems obvious after you read it and serves it to you on this platter of, why didn't I see that? Why didn't I think about that? And it's like, when you know it, you just start seeing the world. Now, your natural inclination, especially when you come out as a rugged individual, is to go, okay, I'll figure out how to do that. I'll figure out how to do that. I'll figure out how to do that. When you become who focused, you start saying, I'll figure out how to find someone that can do that and can do it well. And that is an expert in it. And it is a game-changing thought process, especially even as you build your team. I think that the other challenge of this, though, is you don't, and this is what Who Not How, no one would probably, I don't think anyone would disagree. Yeah, you need to delegate things to people. Yeah, that's true. But the scale and scope that Who Not How makes it, it's like, oh, I didn't realize it was that big of a deal. I didn't realize how much of the potential I was holding back because I didn't make that more important.
Yes.
There's certain stats like the average divorce rate for couples that pray together once a day, or or the average teen pregnancy rate for families who eat dinner together, right? It plummets. And it's like, why? There's these small things. I didn't realize it was that big of a deal. I did that thing. And the Who Not How is one of those things where you're like, oh, that I didn't realize the power of that door, that if I unlock that door, what world it opens for me, right?
And Andy, here's the thing. This isn't just for if you're the point leader in your organization, you're listening to this, that's great. We're certainly, we do this for you, but you need to empower your team with this, because what happens, we have a 12-person team. And as we've acquired that team, oftentimes, this is the only language I have to do is say, you need to think who, not how on this. Who on your team could go do this for you or with you or assist you? Because, you grow in a team, and in the beginning, they were doing a job and they did everything related with that job. Yeah. Now you get support staff for them, you get people around them, and they still initially, because people often don't think about the levels of delegation. Again, this comes back to what we did last week. Hey, why are you doing this? You need to think who, not how here. And all the time, or they're going, okay, I'll have to research that or look it up. I'm like, who, not how. Who, not how. AI is a great example of even who, not how. Claude AI, there's so many good ones out there, but oftentimes when I ask someone on our team, hey, here's what I think we need to understand about this. And they're like, okay, well, let me start digging in and doing the research. I'm like, no, you just Claude it and see what that pulls up first. Who, not how. And how oftentimes that takes such administrative burden off your plate. Even things like, how do you write? I want to write an email about the 5 ways trustees are normally compensated. Well, I could reason that out and figure it out for myself. Who, not how. Claude, write an email about the 4 ways that trustees are normally compensated. It'll write it. And it's like, oh, well, that's cool. It actually, no, you'll tweak a few things. You'll do it in there. So who, not how, just, it is the thing that should live in your head anytime you're doing things. And honestly, when you're realigning your energy every quarter and you're saying, okay, where are we at now? Where we want to go? And you need to have on a piece of paper or something next to you that just stares you in the face, who, not how, to go, all right, what are we howing now that we should really who? And it will radically alter your life when you have that in your thinking.
Let's talk about the next one, replacing yourself with a leader to have a self-managed company. This is, I think this is a pretty massive jump for people.
Yeah.
And I think that they have to believe that that person is out there. So tell us about this one.
Yeah, no. So in the lap of most advisors, I can tell you exactly what it is. It's when you get to the place, because advisors are really good at that are going to operate at an elite level, getting great leaders on their team to do things other than the thing that the lead advisor is unique at, which is meeting with clients, driving projects forward with that client, having those conversations. When you go to the next level, I mean, this is the leap here. Assuming you've done this with your support team already, is bringing in associate financial advisors that instead of you being the point person on every client, that you allow them to be able to come in. Now, are they going to do it as good as you? Are they going to do it like you? Exactly. Even if you train them well? Of course not. Hopefully one day they'll do it better than you. That's the ultimate goal. But in the beginning, they're not going to do it. But you giving them that ability to where you are not the bottleneck to your organization. We have Justin, Cody, that are a huge part of our team, Dallas, where most new clients that come through me, I start with, hey, great, we'll get you on the phone for an initial strategy session with Cody or Justin. And they do a great job there. And now that's self-multiplying, self-managing, because I don't have to be the bottleneck. I don't have to be the person that jumps in between every single one of those. Yeah. And just most advisors are unwilling to make that kind of jump. But it is the future, and it is where things are going to go.
Yeah, I think you only have to look at the people that you want to be to say, what do they have that I don't have? And it's really capable people around them.
Yeah.
It just is. I mean, it's funny that as much as we talk about Elon Musk and, Tim Cook and like we talk about them like they're running the whole company. And I'm like, right. They can't be on all those podcasts and media things and It's not like it's them and then 50,000 employees and they're telling them what to do. They're incredibly capable people between them and the thousands upon thousands of worker bees that are very smart people, but they're worker bees.
Yeah. And this goes back to, you talk about energy management and alignment. This goes back to what you're doing is you're really innovating the best 20% of what you're doing now. And you are buying back your time through leveraging the talents and unique ability of other people so you can spend more time on yours. Mm-hmm. Because we all, in fact, our Triple T tool, which we'll include in a link to this particular episode, time talent transformation tool. That's where it's such a powerful thing, such a clarifying thing, where you go through everything you're doing and you rank it. Is it a 10? Is it a 5? It is a 1 in 2 ways. One way is you rank it in, is this adding maximum value to the organization? If it's a 10, it is you are adding maximum value to the organization through that activity. If it's a 5, it's a very important activity, probably not so mission critical you do it. If it's a 1, you probably should stop doing it altogether.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that can be humbling.
Oh, yeah. Things become 1s, man. Things become 1s regularly for us. It's like maybe it was useful at some point. It just expired. But then the other one is, does it light you up? Is it a 10? Is it a 5? It is a 1. 10 is like, I love this. And I get so much energy and joy from doing it. Now, again, too much of anything is not going to be good if you're overworked or you just you have a million meetings. You're great at meetings. You love meetings, but then you have too many of them. You don't like them. So 5 is like, I don't mind doing this. It's just not my favorite. And And then ones are like, I hate this, and it drains me from it.
Right. And you're basically stealing from the company in your own heart if you do those things.
Yeah.
You're not going to do them that well.
No, totally true. And so when you do that, though, here's what it does. It clarifies everything that everybody's doing on the team. And it says, hey, in light of where we are now, what is it we need to do to continue to become more self-managing, to where we're doing the best, we're giving our energy to the best possible things. We're aligning that energy in the best possible areas. And we're letting other people do the things that is in their best interest. And then where we have gaps, and how do we continue to grow? And nobody's becoming a bottleneck. We're all becoming like having a great capacity to synergize the best of all of us together to do what we want to do next.
Yeah. Well, let's in the last few minutes talk about highest level.
Yep.
And again, I'm going to link to that Triple T tool in the show notes. So look for that. So let's wrap up with this one.
Yeah. So this one is level 4, where you're self multiplying. So not just self-managing, like you operate well, but you're self-multiplying. And this is where everything happening around you operates as this self-multiplying, unique ability teamwork, meaning all the individuals are motivated to focus their unique ability on their 20%. So the thing is, it's always a thing here, the 20% and the 80% that is a part of your day. You just continue to say that, but the best part of my day, the best results come from this 20% of my energy expansion. How do I cut all the rest and spend most of my time here? And not just you as the point leader, it's like something that lives in the DNA of your organization, and everybody's thinking about this all the time. The team is continually trying to replace itself. This is big, Andy. So great book, 7 Practices of Effective Ministry, written years ago by Andy Stanley, and I think Reggie Joiner. One of their core 7 practices is replace yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing about people, especially, and then this happens even when you're self-managing, is people get identity from a role. They are paid 100%. To do the role the way that it's been done before. And so when you're constantly thinking of how do I replace myself, nobody likes to think they're not irreplaceable.
Sure.
And honestly, if you have great people, they really are irreplaceable. Like, it's not a cog in a machine. One of our team members leaves, we can't just replace them. Now we'll figure it out. We'll move on. But when you have high performers, and this is where people, I think, different from like corporate philosophy sometimes says no one should be irreplaceable. If they're all cogs in the machine, if one breaks,
right.
What you get is a very mediocre, lukewarm level of performance in that. And it may be better than a lot of the other people, but it's not what it could be. Versus if you have a level 4 company that you're thinking about self-multiplying, you're constantly killing your old job. You are, because you're thinking, how do I replace myself if I'm not here to do this work? What do I need to build in the people behind me or the people that we're building up to get them to be able to do this to where we won't miss a beat? And it takes somebody with a lot of security and a lot of maturity, emotional fitness, to be able to constantly say, all right, how do we do that? And I'm going to tell you, lead advisors, you are the worst at this. I know.
Well, yeah. And I think that I think the hard part though is that, where you don't see people do this is on sports teams, not willingly. Like Joe Montana did not say, I just really want Steve Young to succeed.
Yeah. How do I prepare myself?
Drew Bledsoe did not say, I just really want Tom Brady to just come in here and do a great job for us. Like, that's there's right. This like, no, there's one quarterback and I want to be him. Right.
Yep.
I think about the Colts. I'm a huge Colts fan, was raised in Indianapolis. And when they were going to draft Andrew Luck, they said, Peyton Manning, thank you for your services. We'll see you later. Because they knew they could only be one, right? That's not what we're talking about. That is not the case. Great leaders are not threatened by great performers. They're excited about having them on the team. And I think this is a level of alignment and leadership. It just takes a lot of maturing, a lot of vision. It takes time. You got to mature to get to that point. Doesn't mean you're immature. It just takes some time. But it's something to have a good vision to shoot for as your company grows.
Yeah. Well, and I think, as we wrap this up, Annie, oh, who was the not before Nick Saban, the coach of, I'm blanking on his name right now, Alabama.
Forget the Bear Bryant.
Yeah, I think it was Bear Bryant. We better look that up because our Alabama friends are gonna like yell at me. But
Is the coach before Saban?
yeah, that was him, Bear Bryant. Sorry,
Okay.
sorry, guys. So but he, one of the things that he was in an interview that I got to see with him, old one, black and white. And they said, "Hey, Bear, don't you find it frustrating that all of your assistant coaches get hired away to go be head coaches?"
Well,
He
that's the
said,
same thing. Same thing as Saban. Yeah, same thing that happened to Saban. Yeah.
yeah. He said, "Why would I be mad about that?" He said, "We became known as an organization that builds head coaches. You don't think we get the best talent and everybody keeps continuing to upgrade?"
Yeah.
So think about that. The replace yourself mindset is one that if you become known as someone that's capable of replacing yourself, you become extraordinarily unique and valuable. And it synergizes your alignment of the use of your capital around the direction that everybody really cares about.
Well, and it takes time to get there. And so I would encourage you to look at the outline that we're going to include in the show notes, which is, some of the notes that we use, just to understand these different levels. And again, these are big things. This is not like, choosing, what color you're going to paint your wall. Like that can be changed. This stuff takes a long time, to develop and have a vision for. And so I would encourage you to just put this into your development, make it part of your goals, have a conversation with your team, other team members about what you want to become. But have a vision. And Wes, we thank you for casting that vision. Thanks for your time today.
Thanks, brother.